jury in the above entitled action find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of Penal Code Section 187.
Man, peace, love, and reparations. Welcome to Black Star TV 2.0. What's going on, family? Hope y'all had a great weekend. Man, I'm back. I wanted to do this video when the story first dropped that OJ Simpson had passed away. And, we had a lot of talk about the trial. And, white people are still mad, thinking that he was guilty, even though they know he wasn't. But, yeah, man, I wanted to discuss that, man, and play some stuff for people who weren't around. As you could see how they was jumping around. The country was divided back then, man. They were divided heavy. I remember being in 7th grade at the time when this was going on and watching court TV all the time, like damn near every day. This was the biggest and longest trial in United States history. OJ was I want to say he was railroaded, but he was found not guilty, but he was still being railroaded the whole trial. And they had such a one-sided narrative to that. And he actually spoke on that and spoke on how, I'm gonna play that for y'all too. How the media was just, not giving the truth. And it's funny because back then we know that there wasn't no Instagram, there wasn't no social media whatsoever, Facebook, Twitter, anything, because that wouldn't have even went down as long and as it did, because I feel like the media controlled the narrative so much. They kept so much stuff out, even things like Nicole Brown Simpson's drug habit and the people that she owed, and Ron Goldman and the people that he owed, and their friends who died the same way before that. And I just feel as though the media did a bad job. The LAPD, they did the worst job ever. I think that was the worst investigation of a crime scene in probably United States history. Facts, bro. They tore this up, and this cracker up here on the screen, Mark Furman, which I'm gonna play this recording for some people who never even heard this, because this isn't something. And I noticed that the media is never bringing this guy up. They talk about a lot of people and a lot of things in that trial, but they never bring up Mark Furman. Never. This was the biggest racist cop on the planet, and he actually works for Fox News right now, family. That's a fact. He actually works for Fox News. But I want to play this for y'all. I'm not going to play the whole thing. And YouTube, this is fair use, just for commentary purposes only. I'm not going to play the whole thing.
You're trying to find a bruise on there. It's not like you're really listening to their words, because you key on what's the truth and what isn't. First thing, anything out of a nigger's mouth for the first 5 or 6 sentences is a fucking lie. Fight or fuck around with the police, you do what you're told. You understand, Dave? Sometimes to a freezer. And you know which gang did it, but they wouldn't tell it. So I can pick up 3 or 4 gangs and bring them to the station. Take one in the basement, just keep the dog shit out of it. Not even ask them a question. Bring them up, sitting down. Bleed, faces are all popped up. Got hurt. Next guy, taken downstairs. Okay, we shot her. Where else shot? That's how you get information. What is this patty cake shit about psychology? Oh, we got to teach y'all to speak Spanish. That's American. We don't speak Spanish. No, I was Mexican. I don't know how to speak Spanish. See how they do that? Well, they speak Spanish. No, friend, they slap on the side of the head. They speak English. I'm an English teacher. Just like that. That's police work. Leave that old station, man. It's got the smell of niggers that have been beaten and killed in there for years. They got impatient with him being so fucking stupid, which I thought he was. So, just handcuffed him. Let's see, corrupt the station. They searched him again, found the gun. Went over to the baseball diamond. Talked to him. any marks in it. Just body shards. You ever try to find a bruise on a native? Reach out. ACLU should be bombed. Everybody should be killed. They do no good. Society.
Like skateboard, game. You know he's full of skateboard addict. Can't really arrest him for anything. Well, I'm talking to another kid.
This was one of the most racist police on the planet. That's why he got a job at Fox News. This was his tape that he sent to Fox News to get his job. He said, "Here, hire me off this right here." Well, but this also what happened to Mark Furman that they don't want to, show.
When you're ready to be sentenced. That's right. Okay, imposition of sentence is suspended. The defendant is placed on 3 years of formal probation on the following terms and conditions. He's to pay a $200 restitution fine. He is to obey all laws, rules, and regulations of the probation department and of the court. And that's the laws of any state. Do you accept and understand the conditions of probation, Mr. Furman?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything else on this subject at this time? I have a few more things to cover by way of housekeeping, but anything as to sentencing, Mr. Munger? Mr. Gordon?
No, Your Honor.
Boy, this judicial system is something the fuck else. I'm telling you, bro, we have the worst judicial system in the world. In the world. There's no such thing as justice in the United States. None. This man got 3 years probation, planting evidence, perjuring himself on the stand, lying like a mug. 3 years probation. You gave OJ Simpson 33 years for taking his memorabilia back, his own property back from somebody. See, but they never wanted to bring him up. And again, like when I was in 7th grade, I used to ask anybody who was thinking OJ was guilty, I would always say, why does anybody have to plant evidence if the man is guilty already? I still never got an answer for that yet. Even now, if you ask a person who thinks OJ Simpson did it, say, why did Mark Furman and the LAPD plant his blood all over the place after he voluntarily gave it up? No bruises on his body whatsoever, no marks on his body from a slashing of 2 people. We're talking about a retired football player with arthritis in the knees and in the hands. And what are we talking about here? How can he pull that off? And y'all look up Mary Ann Gershowitz. She was an eyewitness who saw 4 men running away from the condominium. She said one had a skull cap on. But see, they trumped charges on her because her story wasn't fitting the narrative of their setup. There's no way OJ could have did that, especially by himself. Even at the time, I'm gonna be honest, in 7th grade, I thought he did it based off the Wilson. Of course, I wanted him to be found not guilty. And I always used to say this. I used to say, if he didn't do it, he had somebody do it, right? But he didn't have anybody do it. There was no motive to that. Again, I was young at the time, 7th grade. You don't really know too much. You know what I mean? I definitely didn't understand the media and how that worked. But I want to play something for y'all as well, because the media, they played a tremendous role in this right here. So here we go. Listen to OJ. Shout out to Steve Coakley.
Excuse me. I guess what I'm essentially doing, I think I'm in an unusual situation, a situation that I certainly didn't plan to be. And my mother told me that in her case, the Lord Jesus Christ, in her case, or Jesus Christ, I've been told lately by, because I am studying the Quran some, that the Lord is not a word I should be using when I mention Jesus Christ. But in any event, that I'm in a situation, I've been placed in a situation, and that you don't always end up doing in your life what you plan to do. Sometimes you're called to do things. At this point, I'm trying to find I think through my experiences, basically what I am
I ain't gonna lie, this nigga ran straight to the black community after that shit.
able to talk on, and I think I've gotten some firsthand knowledge on, is our place, what's happening to us in this legal system, and what the media is essentially doing to us. And I'm trying to find a way to mobilize and take advantage of this unusual situation that if I'm anything, I am an attraction at this point. There's something about this perceived infamy. I just got invited to go and speak to Oxford, of all places, in England. So I'm going there next week to speak in Oxford, and I'm trying to get my thesis together, or at least get it organized, so I'll be able to best communicate the things that I think I need to communicate. And I think that quite possibly all of this obviously means something, this thing that I've gone through. I focus on the media. I see what the media has been have done to me. Obviously, I see what it's done to everyone. I've paid a lot of attention to Marlon Brando a few weeks ago, and the things that that happened with Marlon Brando, and I don't understand why nobody tried to intellectualize exactly what he was saying there. They were able, the Jewish community was able to focus on shutting him up. In 3 days, they had the man literally on his knees apologizing. Yet at the same time, we had some individuals, one a black.
And that's always been their thing, making people apologize to them. This is back in, I want to say this is 97.
Man, who was able to make, to me, what was even more damaging remarks, racial remarks, when they talked about the jury in my case, that the minute that they saw this group of people, they knew they couldn't get a verdict. I think about my sister who's sitting right here. I think about my mother, and I think about that jury, because I saw a bunch of my sisters and mothers on that jury, and I was...
Yes, because the jury was made up of 8 black women, which at the time, back in 1994, they believed and thought that 8 women, black women, were going to convict him of murder because he was messing with white women. That's what they thought, because any time that they jury select, they make sure there's no black people on this. That's why they had so many black women and not black men. They say, yeah, let them black women in here, because they're going to cut his ass up for messing with them white girls. They're going to find them guilty. Say, nigga, that's what you get for messing with them white girls. Guilty. But it ain't what happened.
I was thinking, how could these people get away with saying that? I thought that was a slap in the face to every black person in America, that they were saying because they're black, that they can't make an informed decision, that they would let, if the evidence showed, a murderer go free. And I wondered why in the community I didn't hear, hey man, we want an apology. Right. And I realized that's because, well, in some areas we were getting that. And I realized that, I don't know, some way we haven't been able to mobilize like the Jewish community has mobilized. I see a commercial, you see it, a movie started today called The Great White Hype. Yeah. And there's a line that he says that when I was in the theater and I saw it, and I was saying that, you know, black unity was like jumbo shrimp, you know, and I mean, and that has stuck with me. And I say it's supposed to be funny, but it isn't funny. It's just not something that we should be laughing at. And so what I'm trying to do, and I'm spending some time with my brothers over here, Minister Tony, where's Mohammed? Did Mohammed come back? Abedin, who has really been helping me. Mabel over here, pardon me? Yes. Yeah, who have I've been meeting with, trying to find a way to mobilize this, try to find a way, there's a thing I call in the legal system. When I was down in county jail, sometimes your eyes are open. I think what I've done is something that what my life has done, I should say, is something that's happened with a lot of black men in America. I grew up in the projects. You know, no one has to tell me you act black. Hey, I grew up in the projects. I know about being black. I am black. Most of the causes, once I started getting over at the end of the 60s, when after the riots here and everywhere, when Mr. Johnson, the president, said he had a directive to corporate America, we have to do something. We have to hire more blacks. Hey, OJ was the man. They hired me to be the first major spokesman for corporate America. And what I did was, over the years, I've been involved in the community financially. But what we tend to do is try, you were talking about it with these groups, the Brûlée, you tend to find yourself protecting your place in society. So what I thought is I can send money to the links. I can send money to my neighborhood. And you know, I was involved, but you tend to think that you're immune to some things. You know what's happening out there is still happening, but you're hoping it change, and you're really fooling yourself, saying that everything's changed. Until I got down there to CJ, with county jail, which I now call CGPJ, county colored people jail, because there's all blacks and browns that I saw down there. And one of the things that I want to focus on is what I like to call selective prosecution. That we have a situation here where I noticed that the statistics of who commit crimes in this country is pretty indicative to what our population is. But who they decide to prosecute, it's totally out of whack, because they're prosecuting us and the
See, again, he spoke on the same things I always speak on. See, the population is mainly white, right? Majority white. Majority of the white people are committing the crimes. They commit at least 68 to 70% of the crimes, but black people are 50% of the prison population. It doesn't add up. That's why I say we have the worst judicial system on the planet.
Hispanics, they're not prosecuting the whites. And those are the areas that I'm trying to focus on. The media, how the media has treated us, this unity thing. I just don't know how to go about it doing it. I didn't know. For the last 3 or 4 months, I've been formulating a lot of thoughts, getting a lot of information. One of the reasons I'm here to listen to Brother Copeland is try to get some ideas that I could take over to Oxford with me. But I didn't know a way to my forum or my venue or my microphone here in this country. What am I going to do? Who am I going to mobilize? I can talk now, people listen, but they will let me go on these white shows. They'll let me go on I'm trying to think of, but besides, not BET, I'm talking about these Larry King is the name. They'll let me go on Larry King. They'll let me go on a Rollo if I talk about Bruno Magli shoes and gloves. Right. They don't want to hear the fact that, hey, you had a level. I can get very technical here, but they don't want it. They don't want me when I question why in America we have a system of justice. When the Menendez's case came down the first time, you had 6 people on both of those jury, 12 people that voted for acquittal for those boys. 12 people, even though they went outside to reload, to come in, to finish their mother off. Didn't one person in the news say that was a racist decision, that was racially motivated? But they're able to say that about my jury, and they're able to get away with it because we haven't been able to, evidently, we haven't been able to mobilize and put pressure on them. I believe that we have a constitution in this United States that.
But that's why the new black media is so vital right now. And this is why we are changing the dynamics, because even back then, they controlled all the media. They controlled everything. And that's why a lot of people still was saying, oh, OJ did it, OJ did it, OJ did it, despite all the evidence that he had to show that he didn't. Mark Furman and them setting them up and planting evidence on them, they still was able to manipulate the media. This is why I tell people all the time, do not watch none of these mainstream media folks. They will straight up corrupt your mind.
That I'm noticing applies to everybody. I sat there and watched this boy, Ted Kennedy, stand in moral judgment of Clarence Thomas. And I was saying, how can that happen? But this is America. He was convicted of nothing. I sat there and watched this guy, John Wayne Bobbitt, who a court decided his wife was justified in cutting his penis off. This man can go out He can speak anywhere he want to speak. He can make tapes, and they will not even let me talk. I can't even buy advertising for my video. You know, so I'm in the community. I'm trying to hang around people that I think can better educate me to the things.
Should have been with us in the first place, but it is what it is, family. It is what it is.
Thank you. I think I have a unique opportunity here, and I'd like to be able to take advantage of it, and I'd like to not possibly once again let you down. Thank you.
Shout out to OJ, man. Shout out to OJ. Man, rest in peace, brother. But at the end of the day, this is why, again, it's always good. It's always good to stay, you know, stay in tune and intact with the community, man, because we're going to back you, man. We're going to have your back. We're going to have your back if you rock with us. You feel me? And again, that's why I said, you know, at least he came back and, you know, admitted his faults and where he was, you know, where he was lacking, man. And that's what's up. But again, bro, don't ever believe these people in this mainstream media. That man didn't do that shit. OJ did not do it. He did not do it. And they set him all the way up. And that's why you got Mark Furman over here getting probation for planting evidence on people. But OJ gets 33 years for getting his own property, his own stuff. That's like somebody taking your stuff out your hand and you go snatch it back. And they give you time for that. Man, the world we live in, man. Peace, love, and reparations. Family, listen, please make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. I need y'all to subscribe. I need y'all to hit the like button, hit the share button as well. Man, I'm out of here. I hope y'all had a great weekend again, man. I thank all the supporters. Shout out to Shabazz too for hitting the Cash App before. I'm sorry, brother, for not shouting you out the one time. I didn't even see the Cash App at first. But yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate all the love and support from all the people and all the supporters and subscribers, man.
Is not a nicety. It's not something nice to have for black folk. It is now an absolute necessity. If you do not get reparations soon, black folk, as I told you before, are through. Reparation is not a nicety, it's a necessity. What are the conditions? What are the conditions that precipitated black folk getting into this dilemma? And what black labor, white wealth did, it tracked 800 years of history in very systematic terms to show you every strategy, every technique, every law, every public custom, and every public policy that was used to enslave black folk around the world and to maldistribute almost 100% of all this nation's wealth, power, resource, privileges, businesses, and controls of all levels of government into the hands of the dominant white society. And what slavery and Jim Crow segregation did with black folk, it intentionally maldistributed all the resources away from black folk and created a real-life monopoly game. Black folk in America are playing in a real-life monopoly game that you're totally ill-prepared to play and win.